time for the Michael Huddleston Show on HUDdradio.com.
I appreciate your input.
Hello and welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in. 832-699-0110 is the phone number that you can call if you have any questions, comments, concerns towards today's show. You can also leave a message on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/mhudradio. We are talking about the Supreme Court's decision regarding the Arizona immigration law on a very, very, very historical day. And if you have been hiding under a rock, you won't know that Arizona passed a law in their state legislature that allowed police to basically enforce immigration. They would be able to stop somebody and check immigration under the pretext of suspicion, and gave pretty much cops the rights to be immigration law enforcement as well. So that went to Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ruled on that today, which is June 25th, 2012. And earlier this morning, about 10:30, the ruling came down, and the Supreme Court struck down key parts of this piece of legislation. However, they did let stand a controversial provision that allows police to check a person's immigration status while enforcing other laws. Now, Jan Brewer, who is the governor of Arizona, she's a Republican, came out and had a lot of biting words for the Obama administration. She says, quote, "They arbitrarily singled out Arizona and sent a bomb, if you will, across our bow and made Arizona once again a target." Now, she's irate, but at the same time, she says it's a victory for Arizona. Now, why would she say it's a victory for Arizona? Arizona is a key state when it comes to immigration as well as Texas is. There's a lot of immigrants that come through the Arizona border just as well as the Texas border. In Arizona, there is a bigger problem with immigration because there's not a lot of cities. There's not a lot of civilization between the Mexican border and the nearest town, which would be Phoenix, where most of the people cross through. In fact, one of the only major border crossings in Arizona is Nogales. And year in and year out, that is where the most problems have occurred when it comes to illegal immigration, drug trafficking, weapons trafficking, human trafficking. So Arizona is a big key state when it comes to immigration. So why is this a victory? Why is Jan Brewer running out and saying that this is a victory? Well, simply because the Supreme Court upheld the part of the law that lets Arizona county, city, jurisdictions enforce immigration by allowing them to check identifications and check immigration statuses of people while they're performing other law enforcement duties. So the original law said that policemen could just pull you over because you're Hispanic and because you looked like you may be illegal, and the policeman could pull you over, check your immigration status, check your citizenship, and proceed from there. The Supreme Court didn't like that, so now they let them make a traffic stop because maybe you're going 15, 20 miles an hour over the speed limit. Oh, and while we're writing you the ticket for speeding, let's check your immigration status. Now, it is my opinion that that's the best way to do it. Because even though we're trying to tackle the immigration problem in this country, just profiling people because you're a Hispanic, and so we're going to pull you over and check your immigration status, that's not the way to do it. Because that just makes us a bigoted and arrogant country. Whereas doing it the way the Supreme Court has laid out is probably the best way, and the way that I've always advocated for it to happen. Don't just profile, still do it, but do it while you're enforcing other laws as well. I mean, we have to make proof. We have to show proof of insurance, and we have to show proof that our car's been inspected every year, and we're required to carry identifications when we apply for jobs that say that we live here and we work here and we were born here. So, what's the deal with what's so bad about having to enforce the fact that you need to prove that you live here? That's for anybody, whether you be Mexican, an African, Russian, or any other kind of citizen, not just Hispanic. So a very interesting ruling indeed that comes out of the Supreme Court. And if I didn't mention it, it was voted on 5-3, meaning there were 5 justices that supported the federal government's argument and 3 that did not. And we can probably guess who those 3 that did not support the federal government are. However, some other rulings that the Supreme Court made today as well. They voted 5-4 on a ruling supporting a 14-year-old that that is a murderer. The judge initially ruled that this 14-year-old was to be sentenced to life in prison without parole. The justices overturned that and said that he needed to have the option for parole when he turns 18. They backed themselves on the 18th Amendment's ban on cruel and unusual punishment. The High Court in 2005 banned the death penalty for those under 18 who committed aggravated murders. So that was just another one of them. They ruled on a bunch of other things too. The other one that they did not visit, which is kind of a disappointment to a lot of people, is there was a lawsuit on corporate campaign dollars and how much could be contributed by corporations. The judges refused to reconsider this decision that had been made a couple months ago, and the case was focused in Montana. So by not hearing the case, this means that the original ruling that stated that there is not a cap for how much corporations can give will stand. There were those big three among a whole list of other decisions that the courts made today. So again, we're waiting on the Affordable Health Care Act to be ruled on. That might happen the June 26th, 27th date. A lot of people are waiting on this one. The courts were supposed to issue a ruling on the 25th, decided they weren't going to do that after all. They were going to wait. It is of my opinion that the court is going to strike down a lot of key parts, kind of similar to the Arizona law. I think they'll probably keep the option for people to buy insurance from the government, but they will strike down the mandate. That's what I have a feeling is going to happen. If you look at past rulings from the court on issues that are similar, in fact, there's no issues that are similar that they've ever ruled on. But if you look at situations that are the same, the courts have tend to rule with the government on issues like these. So I think they're going to keep the Health Care Act intact for the most part. They're going to throw out the individual mandate, if I had to guess. So that's a win for some and a loss for others, depending on which side of the fence you stand on that. So just keep your ears tuned to this show, and we'll let you know as soon as we know something. We're going to try to have somebody on with us to talk about the rulings that Supreme Court have made on the Affordable Health Care Act, as well as the Arizona immigration law. And that should be really interesting to hear in the coming days. So here's what you need to do. You need to pick up your phone, dial 832-699-0110. And you need to leave us your thoughts and your comments on A, your thoughts about the Supreme Court's rulings on both issues, and B, your thoughts on each issue. We would love to put them on the air. We'd love to discuss them with you live on the air if we could. And if you are too shy to do that, leave your thoughts and your comments on our Facebook page. Again, www.facebook.com/mhudradio. So stay tuned. Again, we'll keep you up to date as soon as we know. We will post some audio to the website, and you can keep up to date with what's going on if you're too busy to be watching CNN or any of the other news agencies that are out there. So that's all the time we have for today. Again, when something breaks on the Affordable Health Care Act ruling, we will have something up within the next 30 minutes after that happens, and we want to hear your thoughts and your comments, so leave them. So as always, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Join us next time for more of The Michael Huddleston Show. Be sure and check out the Facebook page at www.facebook.com/mhudradio.